The information of millions was hacked in Shanghai, China. The hackers breached a COVID health app and tried to sell the information online. 5 of China's biggest state-owned companies will voluntarily delist from the New York Stock Exchange. This is part of a bigger decoupling between the US and China. A 5-member delegation of US lawmakers is scheduled to visit Taiwan on August 14th. This is less than 2 weeks after the US House Speaker visited the Democratic Island. The Chinese Communist Party increased military drills nearby in response. The US is reoffering visas to Chinese nationals now. The service closed during the pandemic, but the number of those getting visas is 50% lower now than in 2019. A flash flood has killed 7 and injured 8 in Sichuan, China. The area is a popular influencer spot, and citizens are angry it's been promoted as safe. Banks in Shenzhen, China are freezing customer accounts. Analysts and Chinese netizens argue it's because the government is embezzling citizens after the Belt and Road Initiative and real estate market lost too much capital. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sound of Hope News. My name is Daniela Wolensack, and today is August 15th. The city of Shanghai, one of the largest trading hubs in the world located in China, has once again become the target of a hacker targeting personal information. On August 10th, a hacker claimed to have the personal information of 48.5 million users, about twice the population of Texas, of a COVID health code mobile app run by the city of Shanghai. A previous hacker stole the personal records of over 1 billion Chinese citizens from the Shanghai police database in late June. In both cases, the hackers tried to sell the information on the hacker site breach forums. The hacked app is called Suishenma. It is a health code system established in early 2020 to keep track of the spread of COVID. All residents and visitors must use it. The app collects travel data, then rates the likelihood individuals have the virus. Users must show the app to enter public venues. The hacker was named XJP. They are asking for $4,000 for the information. XJP said in the post, "This database contains everyone who lives in or visited Shanghai since Suishenma's adoption." XJP provided a sample of data of 47 people, including their phone numbers, names, Chinese ID numbers, and health code statuses. 11 of the 47 reached by Reuters confirmed that they were listed in the sample. Experts believe that there were 2 ways the data could have been breached. Either the database center was attacked by hackers, or it was carried out by internal staff members. The concern now is that the leaked data will be used by telecom scammers. 5 of China's biggest state-owned companies announced they will voluntarily delist from the New York Stock Exchange on August 12th. Among them are PetroChina, Sinopec, and Shanghai Petrochemical, 3 of the world's largest energy firms. The delisting has led to a growing financial decoupling between the US and China in the corporate audit dispute. The US has repeatedly warned that Chinese companies, including Alibaba Group, could be forced to leave US stock exchanges if they fail to comply with audit requirements. In December 2020, President Trump signed the Foreign Company Accountability Act, which allows US exchanges to delist foreign companies that fail to comply with US auditing standards for 3 consecutive years. Since then, the US Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, PCAOB, has inspected more than 200 non-US audit firms. However, the PCAOB cannot review the audit papers of Chinese companies because relevant Chinese authorities do not approve them. US regulators say they have never had the transparency they need to scrutinize audits of Chinese companies for years because the Chinese refuse to hand over the documents the US needs or negotiate in good faith. In May, the US Securities and Exchange Commission put more than 80 companies on the list of companies that may be delisted in the United States. The vast majority are Chinese companies, including Sinopec, PetroChina, and others. None of the companies met the auditing standards of US regulators. A 5-member congressional delegation of American lawmakers landed in Taiwan on Sunday, August 14th. This is less than 2 weeks after the U.S. House Speaker visited Taiwan in a trip that made the Chinese Communist Party furious. In response to the visit, Beijing announced more military drills around the Taiwan Strait on Monday. The group is led by Democratic Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. They met Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen, Foreign Minister Joseph Wu, and legislators to discuss security, trade, supply chains, and other issues, according to the American Institute in Taiwan, Washington's de facto embassy on the island. The chair of the Taiwan legislators' Foreign and National Defense Committee, Lo Chi-cheng, said, quote, "The delegation's visit at this time is of great significance because the Chinese military exercise is intended to deter U.S. congressmen from visiting Taiwan. The escalating crisis in the Taiwan Strait could have a major impact on international supply chains. Taiwan is a crucial provider of computer chips for the global economy. The investment in the Taiwan semiconductor industry and reducing tensions in the Taiwan Strait were key topics of discussion during the meeting." After the Chinese military announced more live drills in the seized skies surrounding Taiwan, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said at a daily briefing Monday, "China will take resolute and strong measures to defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity." He also stated, "A handful of U.S. politicians, in collusion with the separatist forces of Taiwan independence, are trying to challenge the One China principle, which is out of their depth and doomed to failure." On Friday, U.S. Deputy Assistant to President Biden, Kurt Campbell, said the U.S. would conduct standard air and maritime transits through the Taiwan Strait in the coming weeks, and is developing an ambitious roadmap for trade talks with Taiwan. The Biden administration has restarted giving visas to Chinese nationals since May last year. The U.S. consulate in China suspended visa services in 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the State Department, the total number of Chinese students who received F-1 visas declined by 50%. According to the Wall Street Journal, cross-border movement from China decreased 79% since 2019 due to China's zero-COVID policy. In June 2020, the U.S. government banned visiting scholars and graduate students from China with communist military backgrounds due to communist espionage and the use of the Thousand Talents program to steal U.S. technology and trade secrets. By September, the visas of more than 1,000 Chinese students and scholars were revoked. Chinese students are still welcome in the U.S., however. On May 26th, Secretary of State Blinken gave his first speech to China. He stated at the George Washington University, "Last year, despite the pandemic, we issued more than 100,000 visas to Chinese students in just 4 months, our highest rate ever. We're thrilled that they've chosen to study in the United States. We're lucky to have them." Current affairs commentator Li Lingyi believes that the decline in Chinese visas to the United States is related to the Chinese Communist Party. U.S. authorities are investigating Chinese students that have ties to Chinese embassies and consulates. Now Chinese students are prohibited from applying for sensitive majors at U.S. universities, compounded by the fact that the CCP has also been growing sentiment against the United States. This has led to a decline in the number of students applying to study in the U.S. Examples of misinformation include how prominent Chinese newspapers claim that COVID-19 originated in the U.S. 7 people were killed and 8 were injured in a flash flood that happened at Longcaogou Valley in Sichuan, a southwestern province of China, on Saturday, August 13th. Videos of the disaster have been making rounds on Chinese social media site Weibo. Before the flood, tourists set up tents in the area for leisure and to play in the dry riverbed. Local authorities warned people to leave the area at around 2:37 p.m. local time, after receiving forecasts of heavy rainfall in the area, according to the Global Times. By 3:30, the flash flood hit. Several visitors, including children, were washed away in seconds. One particularly heartbreaking video shows a father and his young son hugging each other as they sit perched on a rock while the waves rise around them. They are soon engulfed by the water and swept away. Longcaogou Valley became widely recommended by Chinese social media influencers as a new social media worthy location and a secluded holiday getaway. Many of them posted pictures and videos of the valley's beautiful scenery with captions recommending people to visit. However, the valley is a spillway river, not a formal scenic spot. It is also fenced off from public access. Multiple signs around the area warn people to stay away. One of them reads approximately, "Do not go down to the river, value life. If you insist, the consequences are yours to bear." Chinese netizens say that parents taking their children out to the river should be condemned for their recklessness. Netizens also say social media influencers are to blame for normalizing dangerous areas for photographs and recommending their audiences to do the same. Shenzhen is the latest Chinese city to freeze customer bank accounts. The banks include Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Postal Savings Bank, and others. The banks state the freezes are because they are cooperating with authorities who are operating against telecom fraud. According to Chinese First Finance and Economics on August 11th, many depositors of Shenzhen banks were unable to withdraw from WeChat debit cards. Alipay was also out of service, and their account statuses read "account locked." These depositors tried to go to the banks to unlock their accounts in person, but despite waiting an hour, the banks refused to admit them. The Interface News also reported that Shenzhen authorities recently issued a notice saying, "Telecommunication fraud is prevalent. Locking up accounts is a necessary measure to combat these criminal acts." However, analysts and netizens speculate something more corrupt may be at work. Financial scholar Shi Ling told Free Asia, "The authorities say it is to fight financial crimes. This reason is absolutely not tenable. Real estate companies and financial institutions are all in need of money. There are serious problems with capital flow. Financial regulators need to control this crisis before the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. They are now looking at the depositors of a large number of banks for help." Shi is arguing that because of lack of capital, China has turned to its citizens' savings for relief. Some Chinese netizens believe that the Belt and Road Initiative and the military exercises over the Taiwan Strait have created serious financial shortfalls for the Chinese Communist Party. China's largest pool of money lies in its citizens' collective savings, so the Chinese Communist Party is now embezzling the hard-earned money of these people. A netizen said, "Through the alleged telecom fraud prevention, the Communist Party is passing the debts of the Belt and Road Initiative to the Chinese people." Thank you so much for listening to Sound of Hope News. If you like what you saw, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you tomorrow.